welcome to the special episode of my new health and wellness series being featured on the Norfolk Community Television Station. On each episode, I will bring on thought-provoking guests and in the local community who are elevating the lives of those around them through their work and practice. Today, I'm very honored to have Dan Beef Mazzola on, or Mazzola?
Correct.
Beef and Mazzola, who has been studying martial arts for over 36 years and has attained the rank of 7th degree black belt and is a regional member of the Master Board. And during this time, he's also been exposed to the practice of Qigong, has worked for large hospital groups in Boston, and there he was introduced to Reiki, where he's been awarded the Master of Masters in Reiki and Asui Reiki, and created a wellness group to teach Reiki as well. He also offers meditation and stress relief classes, and the list goes on and on for his services in the community. So, Beef, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, this is great. I'd like to share.
Awesome. So what is Reiki energy healing?
Well, Reiki energy is a Japanese protocol. It's actually two words. It's Rei and Ki. Rei meaning universal energy, energy from heaven. Ki is internal energy. It's your chi, prana, I believe they call it in yoga. So that Reiki is a way to offer healing and comfort to patients, to people. Also, you can project Reiki energy to plants, animals, which I've done. Interesting how they react to that. It's drawing energy through me to the person who needs it. So I just want to elaborate on that a little bit, is that if somebody came to me, the biggest thing is stress and anxiety. They often worry that they're going to deplete my own energy, taking everything from me. But Reiki is not like that. I am a conduit, if you will, so that people are pulling energy through me to heal them. In a nutshell, that's how that works.
Perfect. And like you touched upon a little bit, what do most of your clients come to you for in terms of, like, do they come for physical ailments, or is it more stress? And how does emotional stress affect the immune system and the body? And how does this new knowledge of how the body works affect how we go about our daily lives to be a healthy individual?
Well, in Reiki, there's the chakra points that are involved as well. And the thought is, if that a chakra is not spinning right, then that causes discomfort or ailments. And it's all in the energy system. I think it's a great complement to Western medicine. But to answer your question, is that the stress and anxiety, I've seen that over and over again. The other thing that's really prevalent is people that are undergoing radiation and going through chemo, dialysis. They'll ask, could I please give them a Reiki session? Because the physicians, I think it's Beth Israel and Deaconess and Brigham and Women's, I believe they have on staff, Newton Wellesley as well, Reiki masters that will offer Reiki to patients if they're willing. And interestingly enough, Reiki is also offered to the families that are waiting for family members that are in surgery. So that I find it's a great comfort every time I've done this. And again, to answer what you said, it puts people back into perspective, I guess is a good way to say it. So that, yes, the anxiety, and they feel sick. And once I'm done with them, they'll say to me, Beef, I feel so much better. I just want to sit here, if you don't mind, for a moment. That is a common thing. And they don't want to leave. They just want to sit. and I'll just talk with them for a while. So it's kind of a meditation wrapped in. Another thing I do is, because of Qigong, I wrap Chinese Qigong into Japanese Reiki. So I kind of give people exercises to do, and it helps them on that angle. I'll tell them to do something in the morning, like you were just saying, that some practitioners do. And that weekly class that I do, which just happens to be tonight, a couple of people say, Beef, I have to do it because after I'm done, I just feel so much better. I'm not that helter-skelter. I'm not that fidgety. I just feel zoned back in again.
Yeah, what are some practices or things that people can tweak in their daily life to bring back that life force that is always around them, but it seems to escape us?
I do have a little story. When I was in corporate, my title was Vice President of Infrastructure and Operations. And funny thing is that I had to have a meeting with members of the 6 hospitals. And they were in my conference room, and my office was right around the corner. And I knew it was going to be hostile. I knew it. So I stayed in my office, and I zoned myself into the meeting. I did some Qigong exercises. I actually sent Reiki energy into that room before I walked into the room. Now, mind you, I have martial art experience, Qigong, and Reiki, so I blend. The funny thing is one of my coworkers, I could hear them, and they said, "Where is he? He called this meeting. We want to get going." And I just stood there doing my exercises, and she comes in the room and she goes, "Beef, you have to get in there." And I said, "Tell them when I'm ready, I will be in." So she goes back in, and I hear her say, "No, Beef's doing his thing. He'll be right here." So I walked in, but I use all 3 principles: martial arts, Qigong, Reiki. I was on camera, 2 big giant screens. My chair was at the head of this big oblong table, about 40 people in there. And I didn't sit down. And I walked around and talked, and everybody said, "Excuse me, can you just please sit down at the head of the table?" And I go, "Why? Does that make you nervous?" "Yes, it does." And I said, "Okay, now we're going to get going on the meeting." I was trying to set a tone of relaxation. Why are you nervous? Let's try to get something done. They rated my meeting, and they said, "You know what? This was the best meeting you ever did." So I don't leave what I know in the dojo. It's daily life.
Way of life.
It's a way of life. Seems everybody has seen so much anxiety and stress and illness, and it's a mindset.
Yeah, let's go off of that. Like, what is the philosophy of Reiki in terms of, like, maybe its history, its origins, and, like, people study it and people utilize it, but like you said, it's a way of life. You go into a room and you want to embody, like, being present, first of all, and just embodying a good sense of, positive vibration that I think that, from my basic understanding, you're always emitting this aura or this vibe, if you want to call it, off of you. And I guess, yeah. So how does Reiki, what's the philosophy behind Reiki, and, like, how it goes into every facet of your life?
Well, first of all, Reiki is from Japan. It was Dr. Asui, who was a Buddhist scholar. He also worked for the government of Tokyo. And he was researching out energy and how can people heal themselves. and more importantly, how can you heal somebody without depleting your own energy? So the story goes that he went on a mountain for 21 days and he was meditating, and he was enlightened, if you will, in the Buddhist tradition. So he really studied this, and it was from old Sanskrits that he was researching. How did this happen? So Dr. Hayashi, who was a medical doctor, MD, and Dr. Asui met, and Dr. Asui said, I would like you to really research Reiki to see how, I think the official name is Reiki Gaio, if my pronunciation is right. And, how are the effects on people with that? Mm-hmm. So that he did that. They trained people in Japan. And the story is that Mrs. Takata from Hawaii, who was Japanese American, went there because she had multiple traumas and injury and sickness. And in a course of 3 months, she was healed, as it goes. She comes to San Francisco and introduces Reiki and trained 22 masters. It's, again, I want to go back that it's a mindset. And if you will, it's yin and yang. You often see two guys in a fight, and what do? They're yelling at each other, and one tries to grow bigger than the other guy and say, I'm going to hit, well, that's yang, yang, yang. They're going, it's the yin and the yang. It's trying to have balance so that you get in a stressful situation. Immediately what happens? Your breath rises up. You have to lower the breath and get that sense of calmness. I utilize all of these tools. I have to be honest, if I didn't have this behind me and work, the stresses were unbelievable. So that I firmly believe that that's what saved me. Pulse rates. I've noticed people that do meditation, their pulse rates are much lower. I had to have a procedure done, and I said, well, I should practice what I preach. So I meditated, I used Reiki, Qigong. They stopped the procedure and slapped me across the face and said, did we lose you? Are you okay? I said, I was meditating. What are you doing? So it was kind of funny. They all laughed. But I can go on with these people that are suffering with certain things, and they'll come to me and say, Beef, please, can you do a Reiki session on my back? It's killing me. I can't move. And it's funny, as soon as I start the Reiki, I watch their shoulders and they do this, Charles, watch. They go, oh. So it's a comfort and a healing. I'm trying to project energy into the cells of the body, as Dr. Oz explained Reiki in one show. So I try to answer that question best I could.
Yeah, how do we combine this Eastern approach of wellness and healing to the Western side of things? Have they correlated together? Like, are we seeing more of these Eastern practices flow into the Western hospitals and so forth, or why haven't they yet? And
no, it's
we can see the merge.
No, it's starting because I have family members that are physicians, and one of them had an injury, and I had the same kind of injury from karate, and he said to me, "Why didn't I go to you months ago? I'd be back. Then how come you're in karate?" I go, "No, I do things different than you did." So My doctor, I go for, my regular physicals and everything. And he said, Beef, he said, we just don't know what you know. And he goes, I think that we should be, blending a little more. I know how you are. I know that your age. I mean, I'm 69. I'm not on any medication.
Mm-hmm.
At arrest, my pulse is 58. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it has to have something. He believes that as well. He said, Beef, because I know what you do, I know your overall health. I understand that. And I says, well, why can't we blend stuff like that? He says, I know, because there's not enough studies. Everything is statistics and studies.
Mm.
And but he agrees with me. There is a big correlation between mind, body.
Mm.
There was a case of this woman that had brain tumors, inoperable. And
Mm-hmm.
she meditated every day. That before she went to bed, her meditation was, I had a group of miners. I pictured them with the hats with the lights on, and they had picks and shovels. And I said, guys, I'm going to go to sleep. I want you guys to work on the brain tumors tonight. She would meditate every day with that.
Mm.
The tumor shrunk. They were amazed that happened with her. So that she never, they couldn't have surgery, but they did shrink, and she was back to normal with that. I'm not saying that works for everybody, of course,
Right.
but it's a method. It's
truly astonishing. If you're not exposed to this kind of work, it's honestly like, it almost seems like a miracle. I think that's why it's so cool, but it's not. Anybody can tap into this. And
anybody, right?
that's why it's so cool to me.
No, people don't get that. Especially in today's environment, everything is electronics.
Mm.
So everybody gets immersed into virtuality.
Yeah.
They often say, and I've heard this from a lot of Asian Qigong people, is that you should go outside in the morning and go under a tree,
Right.
and do your Qigong exercises, or just stand there and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest things to do is to clear your mind. Everybody has.
That's so important to do, though, for people that are not really, don't really consider that, or even we can go this into meditation a little bit too. Why are these practices so important? Why is it important to clear your mind and so forth?
In my career, everything was scheduling. You're never in the present moment. You're always scheduling out. Like, just for an example, what are we going to do now after this Zoom meeting? Like, oh, wait a minute, I have to go to the store. No, this is our time. We're in the mindfulness of the present moment. That is easier said than done. You need to expand your awareness, be mindful, calm the chatter in your head. Some people say, no, you must clear your mind. You're going to cause more anxiety by trying to do that.
Because you're identifying with the mind.
Yes, and you're going, no, I can't think about that. I can't, but no. Your thoughts are like clouds in the sky. You look at them. Okay, I looked at it. Okay, let it go. Mm-hmm. You have to be, I love this term, you have to get inside of yourself. What is bothering you inside of yourself? Mm-hmm. You think about that. You try to be in the present moment. I mean, if any of my neighbors saw me, they probably think I was having a medical thing, but I was in the middle of my garden and I felt so much energy from that place in the garden. I took a step forward. No. I took a step backwards. No. Mm. There are ley lines in the earth that are energy lines. So I was standing right there, and it felt so peaceful that I just stood in the middle of the garden, breathing and clearing my mind. Like I said, if anybody saw me, they're going, "Oh, look at the poor guy. He's had a stroke or something." But no. And then I was energized to complete and do the rest of the work. Same with during the day, lunch hour. Is take a mind break. I did that all the time. I even walked out at one of the parks and just stayed there and breathing. Although I did work out on some of my karate stuff, but nevertheless, it was a total shift from what I was doing. And then you feel energized to go back again. And then you're ready to attack what's going on. One final story about this is I'm at my office. One of the guys said, "Oh, Beef, we have somebody coming in and you know who he is. He's always mad and has a temper." And he came in and he was screaming at me. Some of the guys I work for me at one of the hospitals did something and he was mad. But I looked at him. His face was bright red. I saw his veins popping. I sat there and I just looked at him. I looked up and I said, "Wow, it looks like you're upset. Why don't you just try to calm down and let's talk?" And he banged his fist on my desk. I said, "This guy's going to kill himself." Unfortunately, a week later, I heard he had a heart attack and he passed away. It was such a shame. I mean, I refuse to live my life like that. That stress and you're tightening everything up inside. And
Right.
It's what you were saying. How do you relate the two? That's it. You can't tighten everything in your chest. Everything gets tight. You get mad as anything.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, with the chakra system, and it just stores. It's just going to store. If you can't just push away your problems. They're always going to be there on energy. You think maybe mentally, I'm just going to address this later, but from your understanding, it seems like we store these problems in our energetic field that manifest in disease or physical ailments. It makes you more aware of your health on a different level. And I think it makes you address those problems sooner rather than later, you know? That being said, what do you say to the skeptics who are closed-minded or don't even think this is possible?
Yeah, I've had them. And one in particular, well, more than one. I was at the Cancer Relay for Life, and I put a tent up, and I try to help any cancer survivors or patients, and I invite all my students, and we all do Reiki sessions on everybody. There was a, 20-year-old guy, big guy, ripped, "What are you guys doing?" I said, "No, we're doing Reiki." That's a bunch of, I'll see it. I said, "Go ahead, if you want to try it. I'm willing to help you." Now, about 10 minutes later, he comes back again. I said, "Oh, do you want to do it?" "No, I just want to see who's doing it." And I go, "All right." He comes back a half hour later. My buddies told me, "You better try this." So I said, "Why don't you get on the table?" And I scanned the body for anything. I kept going to his back. And I said, "You have trauma in your back? Are you all right? I mean, you look fine walking and stuff." He goes, "How do you know that?" I said, "No, I can feel there's something wrong there in your aura." And I said, "Let me just try to help you." Well, to make a long story short, he was in a pretty bad car accident, and he's been suffering from back pain. And he said, "I'm amazed that you knew exactly where that spot was." Charles, it goes on and on and on. Another woman comes down. I look, "Oh, your knee. You all right with your knee?" No, I have nothing wrong with my knee." I said, "That's odd. I feel well, I did have a skiing accident on that knee." I said, "I know." Another woman, skeptic. neck injury. I didn't know that, but I try to comfort her. So yes, I hear it all the time. Interestingly enough, one of my nieces was trying to have children and they couldn't do anything. And she calls me, Uncle Beef, the doctor said, we're out of ideas. Can you go try a Reiki master? So I thought that was funny. But yes, I've had a lot of skeptics.
Yeah, I'm sure they come with the field. But with that being said, for those who are looking to contact you or looking for your work, maybe after COVID-19 or even during, I know you offer Zoom classes for Qigong. Do you do any meditations or any online services that people can maybe access your work even during this time?
Yeah, I do that. I do guided meditations for people. Yes, I've done that on Zoom. And again, I'm just trying to help people out. That's all. It's more fulfilling. But my website, masterinthemorning.com, it's my bio, everything's there. So
perfect. And if there's one thing you could leave our audience with, what would you say to them?
You got to calm down. You have to take care of yourself. Just try to be mindful. Try to expand your awareness. Breathe normally. With everything going on in the world right now, there's so much outside influence, is that you need to get inside yourself and calm down. I always say you're the eye of the hurricane. Think of everything going on right now. It's swirling all around you. You need to be the eye of the hurricane and have calmness. And then observe everything. Don't let it affect you so much.
I love that. I'll take that into my day going forward right now. I mean, just being the observer of really the identity of who you think you are and how much it will pull you out of the present moment and out of that calm state of mind. So thank you, Beef, so much. And I'm looking forward to that Zoom class.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yep, that's happening tonight.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your night, guys.
Okay.